Napoleon has always been a controversial figure. For some, he was a clear enemy of the world, a kind of early prototype of the fascism that we saw in Germany, Italy, and Japan in the 20th century. But for others, this couldn't be further from the case. For many of the French in particular, Napoleon is still viewed as a kind of national hero. Interestingly enough, the man who is often lauded as either the great French hero or the despicable French tyrant wasn't even French. He was Corsican. The man we know as Napoleon Bonaparte was born on the island of Corsica in the Mediterranean city of Ajaccio, the son of a lawyer named Carlo Bonaparte. His father was originally a rebel that fought for the independence of Corsica from the French throne. Being a rebel among rebels, Carlo was one of the many Corsican patriots with a long history of fighting for Corsican independence. Even before the French annexation of the island, Corsica was engaged in bitter struggle with another Mediterranean power, the Republic of Genoa. With centuries of freedom fighting, you could say that revolution was in the Bonaparte blood. Carlo, like so many of his predecessors, was a headstrong and vigorous fighter for the liberty of his people. But even he was eventually persuaded to lay down his arms in exchange for the perks and privilege his family would be given once they were guaranteed entry into the French nobility. Carlo, whose vocation had never been secure in a Corsican economy that had been shattered over several decades of war, still suffered financially after the French annexation, but being lumped in with the French elite allowed him to send his son to the most prestigious schools. There, Napoleon would rub elbows with the rest of the French elite. This was how the Italian Napoleon was uprooted from Corsica at the age of 9 and sent to the mainland of France. In 1779, Napoleon was enrolled in the prestigious military school at the College of Brienne. For the most part, in his early years, Napoleon was received with a mixture of both warmth and ridicule. He was often made fun of for his still fairly thick Corsican accent, and he was usually seen as more of a bookworm than someone who was ready to be socially inclined. It was here that Napoleon had received the infamous nickname Little Corporal.